What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Washington Football Maniacs. Tonight we have a really big show. We're going to talk a lot about needs going to the offseason and a preview for Sunday's game against the LA Rams. But before we start, if you are not a member of the Washington Football Maniacs, strongly consider it, man, because I'm trying to tell you, we are a channel on the rise and we have a lot of good content coming your way, covering the last 4 games, getting to the offseason, the draft, free agencies. Definitely tune in because, man, we're going to have some fun. So definitely like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know how we're doing and what you guys think about the content matter. So tonight, again, we are going to do a preview for Sunday's game in LA versus the Rams. And we're going to look at what are the biggest needs for the Washington Commanders heading into the offseason. And we ain't just talking about coach here. A lot of needs going forward. So let's dig into it, man. Sunday at 4:05 on CBS. The Washington Commanders are traveling to LA to face the LA Rams. For all you bettors out there, the LA Rams are a 6.5-point favorites against the Commanders. I know a lot of you aren't surprised. I'm not surprised. I know you aren't, Greg.
Is that all? I'm surprised that's it.
That's it, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So kind of briefly looking at the Rams, look at the team stats now. They are 10th in the NFL in points per game at around 23 points per game. Now, their offense, they are 12th in the NFL in passing. We are 11th. So we're kind of even killed with our passing games. Looking at the rushing, though, they are 12th in the NFL as opposed to our 23rd in the NFL. And another stat to look at, they are 5th in turnovers. So we're definitely looking at number 99 on the Rams. He is going to be a pest. But looking at a few guys on their offense, they're Williams at running back, man. Right now he is at 801 yards, 7 touchdowns, and their top receiving threat is Nakua with 82 receptions for 1,113 yards for 4 touchdowns. So, Greg, how are you attacking LA? I mean, to make this a competitive game for the Commanders, what steps are you going to take if you're the coach?
Well, I think earlier in the season, what Eric Bieniemy had to do to kind of get some of the pressure taken off Sam Howell is he had to get the ball out of Sam Howell's hands much quicker, and he's going to have to do that this time. Aaron Donald's going to probably feast. This offensive line, as we all know, it's grossly horrible. And so how do you attack that? Well, number one, you have a good running game. The thing is, Brian Robinson with that hamstring issue, I don't know. He didn't practice. I don't think he's going to be ready on Sunday. I think he's probably going to be out. I could be wrong, but usually a hammy, that's very hard to come back from. It usually takes you a few weeks. Even if he's ready to go, is he going to be 100%? Probably not. So they're going to have to rely on Antonio Gibson and Chris Rodriguez. So, which are good, solid running backs. So, I mean, they can certainly do it with those 2 guys. But obviously, Eric Bieniemy, he loves to favor the pass. So he's going to have to be able to get the ball out of Sam Howell's hands very quickly, neutralize that pass rush. I think that's something that's a must. But I would also like to see a ball-controlled offense. So how are you going to do that? You're going to have to run the football as well.
Yep.
So, and that really seems to be what I say every single time, but it's true. Now, I have seen Eric Bieniemy run the football a lot more in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
The problem is defense is not helping us out one bit. So, it doesn't help when they're allowing 30 to 40 points a ball game. So I still say keep their offense off the field, play the play clock game, eat up the time on the clock, run the football, get the ball out of Sam Howell's hands as quick as you possibly can, and just hope that kind of helps to slow down the Rams. Because I tell you, the Rams right now, they didn't look all that great. It seemed like at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But they have pulled things together, and now, they're battling for one of the final wild card spots in the NFC. So, they're going to be ready to play. They got plenty to play for. Washington, on the other hand, doesn't. So, I don't know. I mean, that's what they're going to have to do if they want to win the football game. As you know, Brandon, I don't expect them to win it, but as always, I would like to at least see a good game.
Yeah, same here. I think I definitely want to see a game where they're competitive. I mean, I don't have any expectations. And like you said, the Rams, they started out bad, man, this year. But, Matthew Stafford has actually really stepped his game up and has been playing really well. And if you look at their roster, man, they have a lot of guys who are, young guys who are trying to prove themselves. I mean, they trade a lot of people off. Jalen Ramsey is now in Miami. Allen Robinson's gone. So, I mean, Pakua, 82 receptions. He's definitely having under the radar year for the LA Rams. How would I attack them? Well, offensively, you hit the nail on the head. The ball needs to get out faster. Definitely a lot more slants, a lot more quick hits. Running game has to get established. We have to establish the running game. Brian Robinson doesn't play. Is it a hit? Yes, but Antonio Gibson, ball security. And that's the first thing that comes to mind for Antonio Gibson is ball security. But I'm with you. I'm going to see a lot more Chris Rodriguez, get him in the mix. But yeah, we're gonna have to beat them with quick slants and quick, sweeps and be creative. So Eric Bieniemy, the spotlight, in my opinion, is on him. He's got a really game plan. He's gonna have to be creative how to attack this team because Aaron Donald, man, is a beast. I mean, he's just one of those guys in the league like Nick Bosa. These guys that are just a pest. I mean, this guy is going to put a lot of pressure, and that's the way you attack the Commanders. Put pressure on the QB the entire game. Make him get the ball out quicker. Make him make decisions quicker. Which with Sam Howell, man, he has struggled at times with quick decision making, which is understandable. He first full year starting, so he's a young quarterback, so he's still figuring out the speed of the NFL, and that's fine. Defensively, I mean, we are a mess defensively. So, I mean, if you look at the receiving core, man, Bakua, we have given career days to most of the top receivers in the league, whether it's A.J. Brown, the list goes on, man. There's been a lot of top performances against this defensive secondary mostly. So some pressure. We've got to figure out what's going on with the defensive line. You've got to get pressure on Matthew Stafford because this guy ain't running nowhere. I mean, he's more of a traditional drop back pocket guy where he can run, but I wouldn't bet on it. I would. I mean, he's a guy that I'm definitely trying to push out of the pocket. So we've got to get some pressure from this line. But they've got to start pressing these guys on the line. What I've noticed this, man, from watching the home games, is that they give way too much space to these receivers. Press them at the line. Get in their face. Press them at the line. Get these linebackers a lot more involved. Whether it's, you got one guy spying, get them involved. And these safeties, bring one in, bring one back. We've got to be creative on the defensive side too, because look, teams know what the MO is about the Commanders. The secondary is not looking too good, so they're going to pass. They're going to pass on us. But look, Williams, man, that running back for the Rams, he is a really sneaky good running back, man. And he's going to test his line. So I'm looking at our two defensive tackles, man. They got to step it up. Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. Jonathan Allen, I'm a fan of him, but no more talking. We want to see some performance especially from those two, man, because you got paid. I didn't hear no complaining when you signed a contract there, Jonathan Allen. So you've got to perform. 4 games left. I know a lot of us are kind of looking towards the end of the season, which is really sad because there's 4 games left, and it's not where you really want to be. Already waiting for the draft and free agency, but that's where we're at. But I'm with you, Greg. I want to see some fight on the way out because that's culture. That's a culture that no matter who the coach is, because obviously Ron Rivera ain't gonna be the coach. So if you want to build a culture, something to build upon, a foundation, that is something to build on. Go out to the season with some effort. Try to win these games because Dallas, we'll see. Dallas is this close to getting the playoff berth. So chances are they're not going to play their starters last game. So could that be winnable? We'll see. The Jets, does Aaron Rodgers at this point really have that much of an impact? We'll see. The Rams, who knows? We played them hard. We said all the time, Greg, any given Sunday. You never know. So I'm with you, man. I think it's going to be a loss. I'm not even going to put us to the heartache of a prediction. I'm just going to call it like it is. I do see this as a loss, but I do want to see them fight hard. So before we move on to putting on our GM hats, you got anything else you want to cover as far as the preview?
Well, just excuse me, Danny Johnson They cut him loose.
Yep.
But it does look like Emmanuel Forbes, he returned back to practice. He was a full participant. So it looks like we're probably going to see Emmanuel Forbes back in there playing, to give him an opportunity, hopefully, to try to finish strong. So that's what I would like to see out of our secondary, our defensive secondary. Emmanuel Forbes has the opportunity to prove now, since things have been simplified for the secondary. Let's see if that helps Emmanuel Forbes any moving forward. I don't know. I mean, the secondary still looked pretty bad that first game with Ron Rivera kind of calling the shots. But then again, I mean, what do you really expect? It probably was not going to look too good the first time out anyway. Now, since they had a bye week, they had plenty of time to prepare. I expect the defense to look a little bit better, and maybe they continue to simplify things. Maybe they continue to mix in a little bit more of a zone man coverage, but Emmanuel Forbes is going to have to step up and show us what he could do for the rest of the season.
Oh, I agree 100%, man. I think another thing to look at is with Jamin Davis out for the season, who's going to fill that void? I'm kind of looking at Khalid Hudson, man. I kind of want to see what he can do as for in the linebacker core and see what his future is, man, because a lot of people are playing for a spot on this team. I mean, a lot of people going for it because you're going to see a whole different team next year. So a lot of people are playing for a spot to see what their place is long term here in DC. So we're going to slide our GM hats on, man. And what are the biggest needs heading into the 2024 offseason? And that's right, I said 2024 because time is flying by. We are that close to 2024. So what are the biggest needs on this team in your mind, Greg?
Certainly, offensive line, linebacker, and secondary, I think, are the biggest ones. And also, you never thought we would say this, but defensive end, obviously. Yeah. But defensive end, I think, KJ Henry, I think that he may have found a spot on this team, but we still would like to have another nice bookend to complement him. So I would look at somebody possibly in free agency, or I think the draft is going to be rich in defensive end, so we'll see if there's somebody to draft there. But I think before that, we all know the offensive line. We've been saying it the whole entire season. That is the number one priority. We've got to get a left tackle. And honestly, a left tackle, a right tackle. We may be okay inside. I don't know, but I would probably definitely left tackle. You've got a couple of guys that have declared for the NFL draft that I think could be solid guys. One guy who hasn't given up a sack at all, and then the other guy who has just kept getting better. Now he is going to be one of the probably top 5 draft picks coming into this NFL draft. So you've got to be able to get a left tackle. That's the most important piece, I think, on that offensive line. And then moving on the defensive side, certainly linebacker. We're not going to pick up that 5th-year option for Jamin Davis. We know we're not going to do that. And so you're really going to have to look at, do we have anything in Jarrell Cox? We haven't seen anything for him. Maybe he plays. I'd like to see something. But we got to look at linebacker. Barton, of course, is not the answer. We know that David Mayo is not the answer. So we got to look at really revamping that linebacker position. And certainly the secondary as well, corner, I think is still always a question mark. We don't know what we have in Emmanuel Forbes. Up and down, at the beginning of the season, I was singing his praise, and then all of a sudden I was like, I don't know, I think he's a bust. And, I'm willing to give him a second year to really prove himself. Maybe with a better defensive coordinator, a better secondary coach. Let's see what he can do. But we need a better secondary, a better corner to at least complement him or push him or something like that. But those are really the needs. I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, we need that blue chip. That you've heard that term, blue chip players,
Yeah,
and people have asked. We could probably do just a video on this, Brandon. It's like, who are our blue chip players? And some people are like, we don't have any blue chip players. And I
yeah,
thought about that. I was like, that is a very good point. Maybe we don't have blue chip players. You could probably say Terry McLaurin, but I mean, he didn't have a catch in the last game. Was that his fault? Probably not. So, who are our blue chip players? And by saying that, then they're like, well, we don't have game changers. So, we don't have a game changing quarterback. So, we need a game changer at quarterback. And I'm kind of like, well, if it only makes sense if you can get that game changing quarterback and you also were able to make a deal to where then you can still get one of those game changing or generational left tackles, and you can still address the offensive line, because the thing is, it doesn't matter who you get under center, they're going to be a Bryce Young if you draft them and you stick them behind what Sam Howell had to play behind. So
yeah,
me personally, I am fine moving into year 3 with Sam Howell with a better offensive line and a better offensive line coach. I think that Sam Howell can have can have a better season. Now, Brandon, what we're really going to come down to, and I'm trying not to run the train off the tracks here. I'm trying to stay on the rails, but I do have to. This is a point that I have to make with Eric Bieniemy. His development with Sam Howell. You can't deny that I think he has been very good for Sam Howell in his
yeah,
development.
yeah.
Do you keep Eric Bieniemy around a second season to help Sam Howell continue to develop him? And you would like to, but at the same time, we know you're going to have new coaching staff. And do you give Eric Bieniemy the head coaching job, just for the reason of being able to stay around to help Sam Howell? And he's not going to have the time to develop Sam Howell because he's going to be the head coach. So the dynamics are going to change with that. So either way with that, what do you do? If you hire another head coach and he agrees to keep Eric Bieniemy, which doesn't happen very often that these head coaches agree to keep holdovers, it doesn't mean that Eric Bieniemy is going to agree to stay in that position. He's going to want to have an opportunity to be a head coach somewhere. So those are all these questions, like what's going to happen with Sam Howell. And because of that, I think that's the reason why you do have some fans that question, well, would Sam Howell even be effective next year, knowing that he'd have to be under yet a new offense for the third time, and maybe he wouldn't be as good without Eric Bieniemy. So you get in another quarterback, it's going to be a new thing for you anyway. Get him in there and roll with that. So I don't know. I still say overall, offensive line, linebacker, corner, and then defensive end. Those are my areas.
Yeah, I agree with Sam Howell, man. I think with the O line, he'll be all right. Now that you bring up a good point about Eric Bieniemy. Now I know he's been linked to the Bears as a potential head coaching hire. So he's definitely been linked to an organization or two for head coaching. And like you said, you don't see a lot of examples where a head coach comes in and retains coaches. Usually he clean slate, he brings in his own guys. So that is definitely something to look at. So that is an interesting point you made. Looking at the offense, man, like you said, Sam Howell to me is a franchise quarterback. I mean, with the bad O line and all the issues that we've had, he still has been in the top 5 of passing yards in the NFL. I don't think that's just for naught, man. I think that tells you something, that if you give him enough time to throw, enough time to make those decisions, that he can be a really good quarterback in the NFL. So I'm not looking at quarterback. I know people have been linking us to Caleb Williams, May out of North Carolina, Jaden Daniels out of LSU. And yes, they're intriguing. Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing, man. It's like every day going to work, you see somebody drive with a Lexus. It's like, I would love to drive that, but do I necessarily want to pay for that? So the real nice toys doesn't always fit what you're trying to do, and I don't think we need a quarterback, in my humble opinion. I also think that the point with your bookends on the offensive line are where we need to emphasize. I agree with that. You can probably get away with center and the two guard positions because they've been somewhat consistent. I think the ends is where the issue is, man. Number one, go get first round pick needs to be a left tackle. Needs to be left tackle. I get it. Marvin Harrison Jr. is intriguing, and you could probably argue, yeah, maybe you go with that pick. And we talked about it in previous episodes where, yeah, you could probably go get a Marvin Harrison Jr. But then the next priority has to be left tackle. But are you really getting that franchise left tackle beginning of the second round? So you got to pick and choose what priorities are. And me, go to safe pick, left tackle. Go get our final replacement for Trent Williams. I mean, go get a franchise left tackle. A right tackle, the same. Wiley is not it, man. He is
No.
not it. And look, to me, Cosme has done well at right guard, man. I think that the O line, he is definitely the captain of the O line because he's been the most consistent piece. So we'll see, man. I don't know if Nick Gates is it at center, but I'm definitely intrigued to see Tyler Larson. I know Rick Stromberg, man. He's another guy to look at long term, and Chris Paul did decent left guard, so definitely the bookends. Looking at receiver and running back. Um, I'll say this about running back. I think Curtis Samuel and De'Ami Brown are gone, and I think that they need to slide Jahan Dotson to the slot. He's a smaller receiver, and he make those catches? Yes, but if you look at a lot of the catches he's made, they're body catches where they're very impressive, but we need a tall guy. We need a guy on the outside who's going to take pressure off of Terry McLaurin. And one guy I'm looking at is Mike Evans, former or soon to be former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He's a taller receiver, man. I mean, he's at 30 years old, so doesn't necessarily have to be a long-term move and still go grab a receiver or two in the draft. But I'm looking at Mike Evans. He's a tall guy who can definitely – you need a physical guy on the outside, opposite of Terry McLaurin. So Mike Evans is a guy that I think that we need to take a look at. Running back. With the improved O-line, I'm giving Brian Robinson one more year to prove that he can be that back. I don't think that Antonio Gibson is going to be here. I think Chris Rodriguez is going to be the long-term backup, and I think he should. I think he look. I've seen enough from him to think he should be given a chance to be that backup. But Brian Robinson, I'm giving him one more year with an improved O-line, and then the year after that, if he's not 1,000-yard back, I'm going to give me a future back. So I know we're going to talk about that the next off season. So that's where I'm at offensively, man. I think that the line definitely the bookends. Go get a franchise left tackle and go get a right tackle, man, because you still need to protect both sides. The blind side is important, but look, if you want to bounce your quarterback to the outside, you need a right tackle who's going to be able to handle that, man. So looking at defense, I agree when it comes to KJ Henry. He needs a chance on the outside, and definitely in the draft or maybe free agency. Maybe there are premier names out there. Now, it's hard to imagine that Chase Young or Montez Sweat won't want to come back at this point, but there are names out there on the bookends for the defensive line to take a look at. So definitely need to grab one because I want to see what KJ Henry can do. Linebacker, Lord have mercy. Where do we start with linebacker? I'm with you. I think that Jamie Davis is done. I mean, to me, he's one of those draft picks where it's like, Ron, why? They definitely reached on him. He's a second round talent. He was slated as a second round talent. He obviously was not ready to start. You can say the same thing about Manuel Forbes. I know you probably heard this 1,000 times. We should have drafted Christian Rodriguez. I still stand by that. He's still pro ready. He's still having a good year in New England, even though New England's a sinking ship. Manuel Forbes just ain't ready, man. Body wise, he wasn't ready. Totally different game in college and in the NFL. Ball hawk, but you have to have some weight on you. You got to have some muscle. So, but getting back to linebacker, here's my thing with linebacker. I'm interested to see how Khaleke Hudson does the last 4 games. But middle linebacker, man, DC has a tradition of having a general on the defensive side, which is middle linebacker. London Fletcher, to me, was one of the best middle linebackers we had because he was the quarterback of the defense. He was the guy. He was that leader on defense. We don't have a leader on defense, and that's the problem. We need a guy. Certain guys in history of NFL, they're just that guy. Ray Lewis. He was a leader for the Baltimore Ravens, which led to, you got to have a leader, man. That's why they were such a good defense, because you have leadership. Same thing with the Legion of Boom in Seattle. You had leadership there. You had guys that are holding people accountable. We need somebody who's going to hold people accountable, because that's the thing about coordinators. Your coordinators should not be doing all of the work. You got to have your leaders. You got to have the guys that say, look, get their mind right. So middle linebacker, go out there, spend money. Go get a middle linebacker. Go get a middle linebacker who's a vet, who's going to run the defense. And finally, I know I've been talking a lot, y'all, so definitely bear with me. Looking at the secondary, two things I'm going to show up. Number one, Kendall Fuller and Benjamin St. Juste are getting the pink slip. Marion Forbes needs to go to the other side, and we need to go get a shutdown corner. Go spend some money. Go get a shutdown number one corner. We haven't had one in some time. We've had a few. Josh Norman was here, but we have not had a lockdown number one corner in some time. Go spend some money. Go get a lockdown number one corner. And I'm looking at a strong safety now, or free safety rather. Cameron Curl, have we seen enough to warrant him getting an extension? Maybe. We'll see. But to me, free safety, Percy Butler is intriguing, but I have not seen enough to say I would not go out and get a replacement or a better fit. So a lot of questions, a lot of needs, and obviously we're going to do a lot of this talk going forward into the offseason, Greg, because look, 4 games away, man. So definitely we covered a lot tonight, everybody. So before we roll out tonight, Greg, got anything you want to cover real quick?
That is pretty much it for me, folks. Just continue to be patient. Just keep it clean in the comments. We're 4 games toward the end of the season, but hey, I mean, we're really going to start to see what new leadership is bringing us as far as the ownership goes. You guys had to have known that there was not going to be much of a change with the Josh Harris group coming into the season. I mean, my goodness, they just took over at the beginning of the season, so there was not going to be any time for them to do anything. But as soon as the season is over, you're going to start to see some massive changes. So just keep that in mind. We're going to have a new general manager. We're going to have a new coaching staff. You're going to start seeing a lot of changes with on the business side of things, as far as hopefully upgrades with the existing stadium, the NFL experience. That's my hope. I don't get up there a whole lot, but I definitely, for those who do, I definitely want you guys to have a better NFL experience at FedEx. And then, of course, wherever our future home is going to be. And we're going to probably be having a lot more videos on that, considering the what took place yesterday for the Caps and the Wizards. So, anyway, folks, that's pretty much all I have, Brandon.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, for once, the Commanders aren't the team in DC to have all the issues. Right now, if you know what's going on with the Wizards and the Caps, man, there's a lot going on with that potential move to the Commonwealth of Virginia. But we're going to go ahead and cut it there. Definitely appreciate everybody taking the time out of your day to chop it up with us and talk some Commanders football. Again, 4:05 on Sunday. The Commanders try to get back on track in LA against the LA Rams. So again, if you are not a member, strongly consider so, because I'm trying to tell you, man, we're going to start having a lot more guests. I'm not going to say any names yet, but within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we have some guests coming on, man. So we're definitely going to connect with a lot of other channels to cover the Washington Commanders. I'm about to say the football team. Lord have mercy. So, man, the content, I'm telling you, is looking up, man. So definitely consider being a member. So again, appreciate everybody. I hope everybody has a blessed weekend. Stay safe, drink responsibly, and definitely show your support on Sundays. So, hail to the Commanders and peace. Everybody take care.
Take care, everybody.